Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for February 5th. So the last weekend before the impeachment trial starts, lots going on. So I thought we would take a look and see what's happening. But before I do that, I have some kitty cats who want to say hi. So little Twyla, as you can see, is still little and kitten-like. Her and her brother are getting along much, much better these days, aren't you? And she says, I like this house. There's lots of room to run and play. Off you go. Come here, fella. Oh, here's my big boy. And this little guy, don't eat the mic. Nova, look at the people. Say hi, people. And Nova's doing really well. As you can tell, he's growing a lot. Buddy. Okay, good boy, Danny, go. He's chasing his sister now. They're getting along great. It's all good. So I thought that they would pop in and just say hi. So I think what I want to do is, I think I'm going to do a series of little mini readings today. I think that that's just, there's all these little bits and bods that I feel I want to take a look at and see what's going on with. I want to start with COVID relief. And I'm going to jointly look at sort of the US and Canada and in that regard and see what on earth is going on there. There just seems to be a lot of shortages. I mean, I personally think that there was a lot of doses in the United States that ended up sort of, I don't know, on the black market or somewhere, because it does seem that there's this bit of an industry going on out there where if you can pay a high enough price, you can jump the queue basically. So I just want to take a look at COVID relief. So let's start quick with the United States and just see. I saw that they did whatever the next step was to get that $1.9 trillion bill passed. So, but I'm talking more about the vaccines, that kind of thing. All right, so let's have a look. Let's start with, come on down, I have a question. Let's start with COVID in US, COVID in US, COVID in US. In some ways, considering how far behind the 8 ball you guys really were because of Trump, there certainly has been a lot of progress made in the last couple of weeks since Biden's been around. So here we go. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so for those of you in the United States, it really looks like, yes, there are some snags along the way. Yes, there's disproportionate vaccinating going on. But what is going on now within your country is a more holistic look at the situations. You don't have states fighting against states for rubber gloves, right? I mean, there is this sort of more holistic approach that has come in with the Biden-Harris government has been very, very beneficial. And it honestly looks as if you're going to be able to make up for some lost time and things are going to they're going to move ahead in a good way. Part of one of the biggest challenges is convincing some of those people in those red states that they need to get vaccinated, because if that becomes really lopsided, you could end up with a situation where you actually end up having states that are so much more with much higher numbers of COVID than not. So there's going to be a balancing that really needs to take place, convincing people that they want to get the inoculation, convincing people that this is a good thing and the thing really is contagious. So the U.S. has their work cut out for them, but ultimately it looks like in terms of getting those vaccinations out and about, it might take a wee bit longer than was hoped. But honestly, things are moving ahead very, very, very quickly now. And so that's a really good thing. And I also want to say that money, the relief, the actual tangible relief, it looks like that is also going to move ahead with a fair bit of speed. And it sounds as if once this is out and moving, they will immediately start working on the next package. So it feels like this is going to be a little bit more ongoing than sort of a one-shot deal here, and then 5 months later, here's some more money. It feels like it's going to be a little steadier than that in some way. And there is going to be some oversight put in terms of making sure that people who don't need that relief, that they don't get it, right? I mean, why would a millionaire need, $1,400 a month or whatever it is, right? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So it looks like there's some tightening up going on there. Okay, and let's just take a look at Canada. Sorry, Twyla's just playing right there with the curtain. Come on down. Okay, so COVID vaccine Canada, COVID vaccine Canada, COVID vaccine Canada. Yeah, definitely hit a bit of a delay. I think we're at something like 800,000 vaccinations have been given. And then I'm not sure, another whatever. Hang on, please. Okay, sorry about that. The feline wrestling match has been paused for now. Okay, so there's definitely been, I think it's like 140 or 80 second doses, but things are not moving here all that well either. There are just shortages globally, and we are being impacted just like every other country. But ultimately, it feels like the Canadian government is going to be able to get things sorted out the way they need to be sorted out. It looks like they also are going to be running into some trouble with, I almost want to say silly opposition. So you've got opposition parties who are sprouting stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense, or they're trying to come up with just a blame game, where everybody is the other party's fault. And if they were in power, they, of course, would have done it differently. Except if they were in power, this would be under a conservative government. And I fear it actually might have ended up looking a lot more like the United States in terms of its reaction. So, ultimately, things are going to start rolling out and moving out. Definitely, there has been some real issues. And on the uphand, these things have been brought to light. Certainly the financial help that is continuing to flow has been very, very helpful from preventing people from sort of really imploding. I'm not saying there aren't lots and lots out there who are absolutely suffering and are paying a really high price for the COVID situation. But overall, sort of the economy of the country has at least been kept buoyant, perhaps not flying, but it's at least kind of holding its own as best it can. And it looks like there's going to be a couple more major decisions made or major announcements coming from the Canadian government as they're continuing to move things in a forward motion, get out of some of this rocky terrain they're in right now. Yeah, and ultimately the balance will come. Ultimately, it feels very much like once this thing kicks off, once it really gets organized, and this feels actually like it's for the United States too. And to some degree, even I think the UK, because if I'm not mistaken, they are also have released, I guess, recently a new vaccine. I could be wrong, but I sort of thought I knew that. But once this global kind of holdup gets sorted out, and that's because they're refitting some factories so that they can increase production. So once that happens and that supply chain starts moving again, you're going to see those vaccinations and that situation moving very, very, very quickly. All right. Let's take a quick look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, sort of the rightest of the right wings. And, you know, she's not, I mean, honestly, she's not a Republican. She's not. You know, she's a Trumper. And beyond that, she, there's sort of a vindictiveness about her. There's something about her that I don't like. Oh, while I'm talking about that, hold on, I got something to say. So thank you so much for being so generous and kind about the fact that I took a chunk of time off during this week. So a couple of things. It feels in some crazy way, as dark as the energy was when Trump was in office, it feels right now that energy is getting darker. It's just harder to step into without coming out kind of really drained for me. Now, from what I understand astrologically, Mercury is in my 12th house, and that, of course, would be the house where I download and receive all this information from. So that also could be part of it, because I just really actually felt psychically fatigued for a couple of days. So, and going forward, I have to say, going forward over the next couple, weeks or months, you may find that I'm just skipping a day here and there in an attempt to recharge, because, of course, I also have a life that I'm living here, right? Okay, so so anyways, there's something about Ms. Greene that I don't like her energy. I don't like stepping into it. I'm really trying not to use the word evil. I'm really trying. But come on down, let's take a look at her. So question. Now, I know sometimes today she's supposed to be giving a speech or making comment, but certainly the one she made in the Senate the other day, when the Senate overwhelmingly, no, that's not true. She has been sanctioned by, maybe not sanctioned, the House has made it known that they don't want her in any committees, and that vote passed. But what's sort of sad about that is there was only, I think, 11 Republicans that agreed that her behavior warranted some sort of a punishment. And so you have 100 and however many else there are who didn't. They thought she was just fine. Hey there. Okay, so I guess there's this thing now where she's not going to be able to get roles in committees. So from what I understand, that really means she doesn't have anything to do in Washington. And from what I understand, in Georgia, there really are very mixed reviews about her. I mean, some people are like, yeah, you go, girl. And the other 50% are like, she has no business being in office. So that's also going to be sort of an interesting thing to see if she can actually hold this office over the next couple of years, if for whatever reason she doesn't get booted out or frankly charged before then. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just wanted to stay on the table. So the handy dandy 8 of Swords. So literally her own behavior is imprisoning herself. And I have to tell you that there is like not a conspiracy theory that she doesn't love. Okay? I mean, you've got I don't know, some sort of a Jewish organization sending laser beams into California to create the forest fires. You have fake mass shootings as a way to try to take away people's gun rights. She is literally, she believes, truly believes a lot of the stuff that she says. Like, this is what's in some ways so scary about her, is because unlike Josh Hawley, who has sort of, how can I say this? It's like he has, it's a layer of clothing almost. It's a look. It is something he has stepped into because he sees a real strong political advantage to him. She, on the other hand, actually believes a lot of what she says. And even in the days and weeks to come, if she denies that she believes it, she believes it. There's just something about the way her head works. And she is just very prone to really believing these things that she's saying. This is not a show for her. This is not a political maneuver. This is what she believes. And of course, in Trump, she found like a soulmate, right? I mean, you've got two people who are hardwired to not live in actual reality. Okay. So this is the thing, right? She's going to sustain it. I'm not sure kind of what else can be done or should be done or whatever, but it feels like she's also going to sustain another blow or two. So whether that is information that was previously not known that comes out that's even worse than what is already out there, which is horrendous, or something happens that really causes her to almost like fly off the handle and not really give a damn about what she's saying, and then that comes back to bite her. I don't know, but it definitely looks like she's clearly on very rocky ground. It does not, I mean, these cards are not indicative of any kind of success or longevity. Yeah. And this is what's confusing. Like, even as I'm looking at cards like this, right? Because in the real world, in the logical world, she'd be history by now. But because she's part of the Kevin McCarthy House Republicans, well, she's not being. They're supporting her. They're, because nobody, of course, wants to upset Trump. This isn't because they think she's brilliant. They're doing this because Trump likes her, and he's made no bones about the fact that he likes her. And let's not forget, Kevin McCarthy was in Florida last weekend. Kissing the ring of his commander-in-chief, I guess, or his lord, or whatever word we're going to use for that relationship. But, so that's what's going on. You still have those Republicans just terrified to do anything that is against Trump. And because Kevin McCarthy leads that group, they're taking their cues from him, right? And he's beholden for whatever reasons. And so he's just gonna, do what he does because he wants to, keep his political future in mind, and for reasons that we still cannot understand, most of us. It's a little bit hard to know what future he thinks that might be. I want to take just a real super quick look at the GOP, because day by day, it really does feel as if the crazies and the loonies are really taking hold. And it feels like the more traditionalists are really scrambling to hang on to what they thought they knew for all of these years. So Current GOP situation, current GOP situation, current GOP situation. Okay, so this is the thing. For right now, they are definitely experiencing a change in fortunes. I mean, you know, they lost the White House, they lost the Senate, but they see what is going on with this whole Trumper coalition that's being created. They actually see that as to their advantage. And that is how literally politically lost their souls have become. It's just simple as that. Ultimately, they're going to end up sustaining a great deal of heartbreak over this. But in the here and now, the connection to Trump is still tight enough that they are not prepared to do any sort of soul searching or understanding. They're not about finding any clarity. They're just about making sure that Trump knows they're on his side. You know, I think what's so ironic is if they would just vote to impeach the guy and prevent him from running for office again, they would be free of this fella. But for whatever twisted, demented, cult-like reason, they just are not prepared to do that. And I mean, that really is, I think that we need to start referring to the GOP instead of the grand old party. I think maybe it should become the grand old cult, because that's literally what they have become. The people who were in there are so full of these mixed up, strange stories and or just naked political ambition that what is going on, as long as it continues to align with their personal desires, they will keep it up. And the fact that they are losing face, that the party is being destroyed, none of it matters to these people, because one of the unfortunate things that the Trump presidency did was it made that sort of greedy ambition, that kind of, I'll do whatever it takes to maintain what I want. Now, listen, it's not like this is some new story that politicians woke up to, 4 years ago and went, oh, wow, this is an interesting idea. They've all done it. But the point is that there was more subtlety to it. They weren't so in your face about it. And now the constraints have been taken off. And so until they figure out that really isn't going to fly, this sort of why, like literally, why are you the chosen ones that your constituency puts in office so that you can steal from the people who voted you in one way or another? Okay, so it's going to come crashing. The question is it going to come crashing and you're going to end up with extreme right-wing politics as the official opposition? Because really, if you think about it now, just in terms of the Biden agenda and what's going to happen there, what they're looking for going forward, the traditional GOP has moved they're now more center GOP, if you're understanding what I'm saying, because though that majority of their party has become so right-wing that they're not anywhere close to center anymore. Now what's happened is the extreme of the extreme are starting to become normalized. And I'm not so sure that the GOP party, as it has been known, is actually going to survive. I mean, I did say a long time ago that I saw it actually taking about 3 generations for the Republicans to actually have a party again that people had forgiven. So I don't know. I guess we shall see. But It's a very interesting situation that, and I think that that's part of the reason why there's just so much more dark energy floating around right now. I think it simply has to do with the fact that more and more people feel unchained. They can be what they want and say what they want and do what they want because the president got away with it. Why can't they? And slowly but surely they will come to learn that the former president's, whatever that is, doesn't transfer to other people. It doesn't. He does not, he doesn't increase their chances of getting elected, but he sure has the ability to decrease their chances of getting elected, which is why they're all so scared of him, which is really pathetic. Should maybe like rename that party like the party of the week or something. The spineless red party, I don't know. All right, I want to take a quick look at the trial that starts next week. I will be doing a more sort of deeper dig on the impeachment next week, but for right now, I just want to take sort of an early little look at this. Trump second impeachment trial, Trump second impeachment trial, Trump second impeachment trial. And this is the thing, this is what's concerning, right? It's because when you watch how Republicans have been voting about honestly stuff that should be a no-brainer, it doesn't bode well for being able to get the number of votes they're going to need in the Senate to find him guilty. We shall see. Okay, so what you have here is a situation where there is a grouping of people that are really trying to bring some balance, some clarity, some normalcy back to government. But unfortunately, those people who have really shifted hard right are not prepared to be anywhere near that sort of center circle area, if you will. And so what's happening is, on the one hand, as one side is sort of trying to push ahead, the other side is trying to ignore the facts, okay? So you've got the chariot pushing ahead and the moon basically creating confusion about facts, confusion about truths, right? They're just muddying the waters to the very best of their ability. Man, that's what this whole, oh, well, there's no point, doing this now, he's out of office. Well, if you just look at that logically, it makes no logical sense, because does that mean that you can have presidents that come in and they're virtually dictators and they destroy the country, but they can resign their office and they're fine? Like, it doesn't make sense, but that is really how drunk with stupidity some of the people in the Republican Party have become. So the strength, however, for whatever reason, still at this point anyways, seems to indicate that there is going to be some sort of a definite ending that ends up happening as a result of the trial, and the ending would be for Trump. Aha, the victory card. So who's victorious? Who comes out of this? Well, you've got the Six of Wands, the World, and Judgment. So it feels as if judgment will be passed And there will be a general acknowledgement that that period needed to end, and so something else could be reborn, and within that is the victory. So I don't know. I mean, let's ask my pendulum quick, because my pendulum, does what my pendulum does. Okay, so, well, it feels like it's slipping. There we go. Okay, pendulum, are you ready to talk? Okay, and so that back and forth is yes. As you know, back to front is yes, and round and round in a circle is no. Pendulum, as things sit right now, is it more likely than not that Donald Trump will be found guilty of the charges on this second impeachment? Is he going to be found guilty? Yes. And that, again, that's it, because when you look at it logically, it just doesn't kind of make sense. Is there going to be sort of a block of members of the Senate who figure out a way to just avoid voting? Could that be part of what's going to happen? Yes. Okay. I don't know. I guess we're going to have to watch this unfold. We can do some quicks. Are the Democrats going to present a really strong, solid case? Yes. And could some influence be created by really by constituents really making their views known about how they think that their senators should vote? Is this one of those situations where the public really getting involved can actually have some impact? Yes. Okay. So, there you have it. Okay, so it's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Take the weekend. It's going to be a busy week next week. There's going to be a lot going on. And for the most part, I think most of us are going to pay, if not continual attention, at least significant attention to what's going on with that trial. So, yeah, so there we are. Donald Trump apparently is not going to testify. What a big surprise. And again, his newest of the new lawyers are apparently what they're fighting is that it's unconstitutional because he's already left office. So I don't know. That's a pretty weak framework as near as I can figure. But I guess, frankly, lately it feels like the Republicans have won with even way lamer things. So there you have that, right? Okay, so get some rest. Do something relaxing. Do something fun. Do something that takes your mind off the crazy. Okay? Thank you so much for your support, your understanding. To my new subscribers, welcome, welcome. And until next time, take care, be well. Bye-bye.